What's up, guys? So I was going to do a little video here, not an unboxing since it's already unboxed, but I was gifted one of the Kinwald kits. It's probably not my place to discuss why I was gifted it, but for the person that sent it to me, thanks again. So I'm basically just going to go over, like, Associated did the did some milling on the chassis and stuff, and for the most part they got pretty good, or pretty close with what they did for the Kinwald specific stuff. Obviously getting the Iridium Tower and a host of things. But there's a couple little things here and there and that's basically what this video is for, is if you want to take your Kinwald kit kind of to the next level. So there's a lot of pictures, especially like on RC10 Talk, and you can Google them too. They're out there. And if you study them hard enough, you can see all the little things here and there, the different color hardware and whatnot. I think the best Kinwald, the best replica of this is obviously Cedric's. It's all OG stuff, and he spent many years trying to perfect that car. And then he built another one with some guys donating stuff from RC10 Talk, and that's the one that's at Hobby Action. Cedric presented it to Brian. I don't remember which Worlds it was. It might have been like 2015. And it's when he was able to get it finished, and then gave it to Brian. And Brian still had his original body and wing. For those that don't know, after he won the Worlds in '93, I don't recall what race it was. Could have been the Reedy International race or something. But his car was stolen, but they didn't take the body. So he had his original body and wing all these years. And so when Cedric presented him with the car, he was able to put his original body and wing on it. And that's how it sits at Hobby Action now. So there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of little things. And I built mine this is a World's re-re. So this is one of the re-releases from 2014. So it's not an exact replica. But I did all the little things that I saw, like Cedric did, or other things that I saw in the pictures of his original car that I did do to this. But this one has the threaded shocks, and I did a video on this before. If it's something you want to go back and look for, you can find it. And I kind of go over, for the most part, everything that I'm going to show here, but this way I can, hold the pieces up, side by side. So, and I made a little list of things so I can not forget. So this, let me just get the body off of this. And I'm going to try and just start front to back, because it'll probably be easier that way. Like I said, mine's not, I was trying to make a replica, but I was also building a car to race at the Vintage Off-Road Nationals. And like I said, I used the re-release car, so it has the mill chassis and all that kind of stuff. But so we'll just go start front to back. Actually, let's start with the tub. So obviously, I cut mine down. I think I cut mine down about an 1/8 inch, because it kind of looked about what Brian had done to his. So it's similar to what they did, and I believe that Cedric kind of helped, with some of this kit, with the towers and a lot of pictures and, everything that he put into his. So they had really good reference material for it. Oh, by the way, mine is 1421, if anybody was interested. So starting with the tub, the only thing, well, there's two things. Well, actually, a couple little things. So the countersunk screw on the side, if you wanted to do that on the new one, right here, he took that curve out of it and just angle cut it, so it's just straight like that. So that was one of the things. The other thing, and I just kind of setting the parts together, and I was actually kind of a little bit worried about this, just looking at the pictures, because the motor plate's milled and everything. Let me see if I can find it. So when I was building this, or building mine, Brad Relfs had mentioned something to me about, are you going to bend the back of the chassis up? And I could be a little wrong on the story, or just misremembering, but there was something about the track there. Obviously it was a bumpy track and whatnot, but I know there was a couple jumps where the cars were getting a little unsettled, the way they were landing, and someone went around, I don't know if it was Cliff or Curtis or someone, but he was saying, guys, they were going around and bending the back of the chassis up, right? Like right behind the arm mounts. It's kind of like a B2. And then they were drilling the hole up higher drilling the hole in the chassis and then higher up on the motor plate. So it's hard to see in any picture of Brian's car, but like I said, I did it to this. I bent the chassis up, drilled a hole, raised it up, and I don't remember if I did that first before cutting it, but Brian's the pictures of Brian's car looked like it was a nice continuous kind of line, right? So that's what I worked for on mine. Now this tub kind of looks, I don't know, I should have took it out of the bag, but when you line the holes up, it's already kind of, sorry, I should have had the thing out. So if you line the holes up, it already has that, where it meets up. So there's really no way to bend the chassis up, and because you're going to lose that detail. So maybe that's not something you want to do. When I put this together, I probably won't do it because of that. But I'll probably still drill the hole in the middle, just so it's like that. Oh, and also, they do have the holes countersunk in the back too. They just need to get cleaned out, so I just have to run a countersink in there and clean the anodizing out. But that's pretty much it on the tub. So it's like take that, knock that off, put an angle cut in there, countersink the screws, and then the back. It's just should have a screw right between those two. But I'm gonna have to wait until I kind of get into it and start building it to see if I can bend the chassis up in the back. If not, no biggie. It is what it is. So let's go to the front. So they did the milled edges on the nose plate. So on his car, he countersunk the two, and he also, I don't know if you can see it. See how the sides are kind of on an angle? May not be showing up quite right, but anyway, if you look at the nose plate, you can see the hole is closer to the top edge than it is to the side edge. So after you countersink it, get the screw to sit nice. Basically angle cut the edge so that it's a nice, the gap between the screw and the top edge is the same on the side. And then just finish off the radius. And that pretty much would take care of the nose plate then. That's the nose plate. So obviously he had, if you look at his original car, he had custom made his own body mounts. So when I built mine, just going off of pictures, my buddy Joe whipped up some body mounts for me that looked like his, and just kind of measured like the height, so you're not, because a lot of times you got to stack 3 or 4 washers under there. So this one's a little taller than the back one, obviously, but that way it can go right against the chassis, and there's no washers or anything, and the pin fits right in there. Let's see where a bag we want to grab. So this is the World's Riri, so it has the extended axles for the B4 wheels. He used, I don't remember the number, it was a Team Low C axle. It was like A-1006 or something, or 1012, I think it's 1006. It could be 1003, somewhere around there. But with the larger nut. These have the regular, or standard axles. So like you can run, the J-Cons has mono wheels and stuff right on it, and there's no offset issues or anything. He used the inner, or the outer hinge pin as a kingpin. You can see in some of the pictures of it, it's just hanging down there. Hardware wise, I can't tell. Some of the pictures look like it's just the natural mini lock nuts, the 3/16 aluminum lock nuts. They could be those, like the light gold, like that really light gold AE lock nuts from that time. It's kind of hard to tell, but those are hard to find too. So I just went with the natural ones. Shorten the nose tubes a little bit. He had some kind of a blue washer. I don't know if they had blue ball stud washers back then, or I'm not totally sure, but you can see in the pictures he has some kind of a blue washer there, and blue washers under the ball studs. In the holding the shock tower on, he had the blue countersink, or the countersunk washers, putting the shock tower, or mounting the shock tower, and obviously the carbon tower that comes in there. Cedric helped me out big time with mine. He sent me the files to have the towers cut, and I got a sheet of iridium from GA Graphite so that I could get make the towers, and I think I got the front tower, or the front material from the woven stuff from him also, and had those cut, and the G10 battery hold down. I think on the original car he used the Composite Craft steering bell crank. On this one, on mine, I dyed one of the World's ones black, and it comes with the black steering bell crank. Yeah, it comes with the black steering bell crank already, so no dyeing necessary. Another thing would be the set screw there in the arm mount. The old hinge pins in. And his car didn't look like he had any E-clips on. I had originally built mine without E-clips, but being as I was racing it, I just didn't trust it. So I put ones on the outside just so it couldn't loosen up and slide back, but I didn't have any on the back side. All right, where are we at? Oh, there's another thing. He had instead of like the short 1/4-inch steel screw, he used one of the 1/2-inch aluminum 8/32 screws in the back of the nose plate there. I think that, oh, nope, on the front. I was looking at the shocks. So on his original car, the shock hardware was black and the rears were white. So, and it had, like, I have the raised cup because it's the re-release, the re-release parts. So I don't know. I'm not really a fan of dyeing shock parts because sometimes you can end up with shock bodies that look like that when a dye is on them for a while and eats into, let me show it better. It eats into the ano on the body. So I don't know if I want to do that, or I don't know. I think the dual sport, maybe I can find some dual sport shock parts. They're probably molded in black, I would assume, for when I assemble that one. And it comes with the black, or the plastic bleeder caps, which is cool. And his original car actually used the black caps. It used the aluminum caps. I always actually liked the aluminum caps were nice, but they seemed to leak a lot easier after a while to me. I almost liked the plastic ones better back then. So I think that kind of covers it for shocks. Oh, the only other thing I was going to mention was, I think in the instructions, or at least in the pictures of the box, I haven't gone through the instructions or anything. I think they just have like a plain nut and a washer there. He had the 440 nylock nuts, front and back on the screws. So you can just take like the shock bushing, take the shock bushing and knock off the thick part, and then the shock can just ride on that. I think that covers it for the shocks. Let me put some stuff away. And I for some reason, I feel like when they first showed a picture of this, like some of the suspension parts were white, like the catcher blocks and the steering knuckles and stuff. And I was like, well, that's wrong. And, that'll have to get dyed. This will have to get dyed. So I could be misremembering that. But yeah, I was kind of surprised when I saw some guys doing the unboxing, and the catcher blocks were black and the knuckles were black, and that's how it's supposed to be. So that was cool. Yeah, turnbuckles. I kind of did the same thing on this. Used titanium turnbuckles to try and mimic the RCPS ones. So yeah. So moving back, so you got the battery brace. So you have to chop the battery box a little bit. Another thing is, if you look at his car, the antenna mount. He put like this 45-degree cut on the front side of it where the screw comes up. And I didn't even notice it until today when I was when I was making this list, just trying to refresh my memory with some stuff, in case there was anything I didn't do to my car that he had done to his. He also, well, you can see it on mine, has how they have the ridge around it. He actually shaved that off too, so it's like totally smooth. So it doesn't have that lip on it. So 45, like, angle cut the front side where the mounting screw is, and then shave off the ridge front and back. And then shortening those tubes like I mentioned earlier. Let's go into the back. So rear bulkhead and iridium tower. So the one thing with the bulkhead, it's kind of been, I don't want to say like a pet peeve or anything like that, but when, you know, the original Worlds car, hang on, let me get this, hang on a sec. Sorry. All right. So the original Worlds, or like the 3rd series bulkhead, you know, it didn't have the 6 outer holes on either side, but they added this one. Oop. They didn't have the 6 extra ones out here, but they added this one here. So that required them, and in the Worlds car, they put and typically this hole, you'd use a 1 5/8 turnbuckles, same as the front camber one. So that'd be the same, like on the team cars or the championship edition, all of them, they were all the same. But the Worlds car, and this bulkhead, it showed up subsequently in the other ones. But the Worlds car was designed to be used with this hole. So the turnbuckle, the turnbuckle that came with it was shorter than this. It was like 1 3/8. So when they re-released the, not so much the classic, but even the Worlds car, well, both of them in 2013, 2014, you know, they used the same bulkhead, and it was like this, the 2nd series like this with the short wing tubes and the hole under here. But they gave the shorter turnbuckle, which would be here. So it's like, you know, you couldn't really thread the ball cups on as far as you'd kind of like to, right? So, and most of the aftermarket turnbuckle kits, they all came with that short 1 3/8 turnbuckle for this longer hole, or for this hole that would make a longer turnbuckle. So a lot of times I would just drill that hole in there, right there. So just cut those off and then drill it. And I would make these re-release bulkheads like an original. But on Brian's car, you kind of have to do it. If you're trying to make it right, you're going to have to add that hole, and then because of how he shaped the bulkhead then. So you can add that hole and then grind out around it. Like so. So I do that to a lot of them. Or I'll, like, back when you could get, or if I got a set of turnbuckles that I would buy individually, I would just buy the 1 5/8 for the back. Unless I was doing a replica and I was trying to make it the same like on this and the Brad Ralph's car I did, you know, I would make them the way they're supposed to be and then use the shorter turnbuckles. So that covers the bulkhead, I think. Yep. So on the back is the blue socket cap screw for in the side of the bulkhead. The blue lock nuts. Oh, it's blurry. Now, I don't know if he had, I'd have to look at pictures again, but I used stainless steel screws in my, I don't know why my phone keeps getting blurry. I use stainless steel screws. He probably used aluminum or stainless. Another thing on the back, you can see down here, that white spacer there. So he used the, like, original long inner hinge pins, and he just put one of those, I used to get them from Bowlink, like the plastic shim trees or spacer trees. Because then on the back, he had the white shock hardware, and like I said, these are the Riri shocks, but he had the white collars on the back also. I believe they had the silver screws in the collars. The fronts were black, and they had the blue screws, blue socket aluminum screws in the front. Let's see, moving on more. I'm gonna find a trans brace. I can't find it right now. But anyway, I noticed in the kit, the screws weren't countersunk in the trans brace. So his were. Other than that, shape's still the same. Another thing is the rear arms. So, yeah, I should have pulled some of these parts out, but I think everybody knows what an RC10 arm looks like. Yeah, they're much higher. Actually, I might have one. Look at these. Yeah, here's an old one sitting here. So they're high like that. So basically just shave it down so it's perfectly flat. And you also like clearance the bottom edge like so, just on the back. Yeah, so shave them down, do that thing in the back. His car had and the kit comes with this style hub. I did have the original ones, like the OG style with the flange bearings, and that's what his car had. But I used the re-release ones, and I used the re-release ones because the arm mounts are 3 degree from the re-release, and the original ones that were like the thicker style, they're 1.5, so I didn't want 4.5 degrees of toe. And the re-release ones were 0. So, but the tolerance inside here, I think, was a little too big. It was like good for the bushing because they came on the classic, and they had the bushing. I think it just had the long pushing one. And I remember building the championship edition ones back at the hobby shop, and they were a bitch to get in. You really had to struggle to get those in. And they went in a lot easier on the re-release one, or the classic. And so I just think it was opened up a little too much for bearings, and it's just too much play in it, and I was planning on racing it, and I couldn't have that. So I put those in. And these are the ones that come in the kit. There. So, and CVAs, I think this has CVAs also. Yeah, basically, same deal. I kind of think that's about it. As I already kind of discussed the back here, the bedding of the chassis, whether you can get away with it or not. I'm gonna try and find out eventually once I get to it. The motor plate is great. Yeah, it's already milled. And mine's milled. And this one, they went back to, instead of using the like the Team Car Trans, they went to the world's re-release trans again. And it comes black already, so that works, and it has the V2 setup, just like the re-release one. And it comes with a clear, and I'm guessing they kind of went that route. I honestly do feel that this trans was better, even though tolerances at first. You know, they're kind of tight, but you run a couple packs through them, they free up nice. And I actually kind of liked the redesigned one a little bit better than the original, especially the re-release of the original style, of the 65 style. There's a lot of play in the side-to-side play in the diff, you know, is that a shim 'em, and the upgraded one, or the new version, once it freed up, you know, it was pretty good. And I'm guessing they, you know, like they went that way maybe because of that. But the other thing is, you know, he ran a Hydra drive, and they're obviously not going to, they can't, you know, re-release a Hydra drive to put on this. So running the V2 clutch is definitely a better option. It looks the part, you know, with the longer top shaft and the bigger spring and all that stuff. And the Hydra drive setup came with the clear cover and stuff. So, you know, it's kind of, I don't know, it's a little opaque, I guess. But, you know, that works. Yeah, oh, the blue lock nuts on the backside there. Yeah, no, other than that, and then, like, I put the green screws in mine. But I kind of think that covers basically everything. Yeah, just kind of looking over my list. I don't really see anything I wanted to mention and forgot. But, yeah. Yeah, so it was cool. I don't know what I'll start. I'll probably start messing with this. I think anyone that knows me, knows I take my sweet ass time building stuff unless I need it to race. But like kind of shelf cars and that kind of stuff. I mean, I got shit I started 20 years ago that still isn't done. And it probably won't because I've lost interest in it, or else, you know, I'd have finished it. But, yeah. So I think that's it. Yeah. I'll see if I can, I wish I could figure out how to, insert pictures over my video, so I could like plug in some of his original shots when I'm talking about specific things. But if I can figure it out, I'll do it. If not, I'll toss some of his original pictures on at the end. And yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to building a kit. Hope everyone else has fun with theirs. But that's it for now. See you on the next one.